ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. అందరికీ నమస్కారం. In this video, our topic is do your own thing. In ordinary life, the fundamental question which we face in everyday life is how to do a certain thing, how to proceed. So this is the anything, any activity, this is the fundamental question which we normally face every day. See, surrender and do your own thing. Trust and live life in your own way. Surrender and trust are not different, though they appear to be so. If you surrender, trust is invisible in that surrender. When you trust, the surrender is present invisibly in that trust. So, before do anything in your own way, but surrender and trust in the divine. So, when you surrender, what happens? When you surrender, you become an instrument of the divine. So, godliness manifests. So, in whatever thing you do, you become an instrument, and the existence will take over all your doings. Then you enjoy a kind of peace in that surrender and trust in the divine. You see, one person has come walking so many miles to see Saint Augustine, a reputed saint in those times. So he came all along from a long distance and visited Saint Augustine, the sage. So he asked the master like this: I heard so much about you. I came walking from a long distance. I walked so many miles. I am getting old. Don't give me any kind of austerities to perform, because I cannot perform becoming old. I don't want to listen to any philosophy. In a single word, in a simple word, tell me how to lead and live my life till the end, as it is very near. So, this is the question put by that person to the master Saint Augustine. So, the saint closed his eyes, meditated for a few minutes. In the meantime, the disciples of the saint were surprised because so many learned people have come to see the saint and got the clarifications from the saint for the doubts or questions they raised. At that time, the master never went into any meditation and spontaneously gave replies and cleared all their doubts. But in this case, this person was an illiterate. He is not a learned person. And for a simple question he has raised, the master is meditating something strange. That's what they felt. So, after a few minutes, St. Augustine opened his eyes and told that person only one word: love. This is the only word I can give it to you. Please live and love rest of your life. So, why did he say only that word love to that old man? Because love is the quintessence of all the religions. Love is the fragrance of all the flowers that bloomed in the name of religion. Buddha, Krishna, Mahavira, Kabir, Nanak, Meera, so many saints. There are very few, but the very fragrance of these flowers that bloomed in all ages is love. Only love. So, the essence of all the teachings of all the masters is only love. You see, why we are referring to this kind of a subject is because we are taught so many austerities and religious practices to attain the godliness and divinity. But whatever the 10 commandments, we can say that there are so many commandments in all other fields, but the fundamental commandment of any religion is only love. If it is absent, and whatever you follow the commandments of all the religions will be and will not be of any help unless basically and fundamentally this commandment of love is not there. So, when love is there, a person who is loving can do no wrong, and whatever he does, it becomes virtuous, it becomes sacred. So, before contemplating on the divine, the fundamental aspect of our being should be love. Love towards that eternity, towards that infinity, towards that godliness, towards that all merciful God who is ever present and in the existence which surrounds you in and out mysteriously, only godliness is there. So, the basic requirement and the basic tool to awaken that godliness is surrender, trust and love. Because we should start from the point of not knowing. In fact, we do not know anything. Whatever we know, it is all a borrowed knowledge. Whatever you know, it is not your experience. It has not arisen from your experiential status. So, in this regard, the famous mathematician P.D. Ouspensky, he was one of the greatest mathematicians in the world, and he was one of the writer of one of the three great books so far written in the world. That's what they claim in the mathematics. So, he has P.D. Ouspensky. He has written a book called Tertium Organum. So, it is one of the three books of the great books, as already told, written in the world. And one is Organum. It is written by Aristotle, the first book. In the second book is Novum Organum. It is written by Bacon. And the third book that is Teritium Organum, was written by P.D. Ouspensky. And Ouspensky, in his introduction to the book, wrote that this book, whatever he wrote in that book, existed, this book existed even before the first one, that is Organum. So, a brief description I can narrate because it will be useful. The first book, Organum, written by Aristotle, it emphasizes some laws to know the thinking of the subject, to know the thinking of the subject. And the second book, written by Bacon, that is Novum Organum, emphasizes the laws governing the object. And the third book, written by Ouspensky, emphasizes the human thought, the canon of thought. That's why he said the third book written by him existed even before the number 1 and 2, that is before the subject and the object. So anyhow, that's a, let us discuss those things in a separate video. So Ouspensky, he went to see the great saint at those times, George Gurdjieff. So George Gurdjieff was not known to anybody and he was not a public figure, but whereas Ouspensky was very famous and well known at that time. So Ouspensky heard about this great saint and he wanted to meet him, but Gurdjieff is having a very small circle and he is not a public figure. So unless somebody comes, some guest comes to the known people of his inner circle, he will not give any interview and talk to them. So Ouspensky tried, caught hold of one of the inner circle disciples of Gurdjieff and went to see him. So it took 3 months for Ouspensky to meet Gurdjieff. So finally he went to see him, and along with that one of the disciple friend. So as soon as they reached the place of Mr. Gurdjieff, the Gurdjieff was there in a hall. He was in the center and there were 12 people in that circle surrounding him. So this friend also went and sat there, and so Gurdjieff, Mr. Ouspensky was sitting in the other room. So he was observing them from that room, absolute silence, nobody was talking, and he waited for half an hour, and he thought, what these people are doing, what is this silence? So he has become restless. At that point, Gurdjieff came to the room of Ouspensky and said, "Why are you so restless?" Oh, it is natural, because you are coming from a world, you become restless. Okay, what is it? Why you have come? Why you are trying to meet me for the past 3 months? What is it you want from me? Then Ouspensky said, "I have got a few questions, so I want to clarify from you." Then Gurdjieff said, "Oh, then do one thing. There is a paper. Take the paper. On one side, write what do you know so far, and the other side, what do you want to know, your questions and all that. Okay, I'll come again." So he has given this kind of instruction to Ouspensky, and he left. So Ouspensky took the paper, started writing, and he could not, some 40-50 minutes passed, he could not write anything on the paper. It was kept black. He doesn't know. For the first time, he came to know that he doesn't know anything. So Gurdjieff has come again and asked him, "What are your questions?" Then Ouspensky realized that by making him to sit and asking him to write about things known and about the questions about the things which he doesn't know, then some kind of transformation has happened in Ouspensky. He observed that he came to the conclusion that he doesn't know anything, and this man is really a great man. That's what he felt. And he also told Gurdjieff, "I have written one book, a great book, people call it. It is, but that I have written the book. The book was written through me by the ultimate reality, but I don't know anything about that book." So that's what he felt and told Mr. Gurdjieff at that point. So then Gurdjieff said, "Good, you said you don't know anything. Only such people are accepted here. You are accepted." That's how he became a disciple of Gurdjieff and wrote some books about the great saint. So the point here is, if you don't know anything, there is a possibility to know. So whatever the knowledge which we have, it is only a collection from the experiences of others, but not anything of your own. So move from knowledge to knowing. Drop the knowledge, then you start knowing the divinity by your own experience. So when you feel that I don't know, When that feeling starts flowering in you, then a new vision, a new clarity, a new transparency happens. And it is this kind of happenings are in fact they are lightning experiences, they are breakthroughs. Then you come to know this is not a gradual happening. It comes like lightning experience, as if you see suddenly light in darkness. Like that it happens. So when it happens, all your illusions disappear and dissolve, and the light only leads you. That light of knowing gives you peace, joy, and bliss. That knowing comes not from the scriptures, but from absolute silence. So, thank you.